Oh, my first time doing it myself. How's it going?
Going pretty good.
Sorry, this is my first time by myself, so I'm gonna try and figure this out.
Okay. What you got on your walls there? Looks like the solar system. Looks like, what is that?
It is. It's for my kids.
Okay. All right, good.
They love it.
Yeah. Pretty good right now. A lot of SpaceX stuff going in space now. So.
I exactly it is, and congratulations, by the way. I gotta say for your new role. You're now manager of the Norfolk Tides.
No, Frederick Keys.
Okay, one of them. I knew it was one of them, but
Yeah.
congratulations. So
Yeah.
this is how it's going to go.
Okay.
I'm going to start up my Anchor app, and we're going to start from there. My co-host unfortunately couldn't be here. He's going through some stuff,
Okay.
so it's just me for now.
All right.
So I'll introduce you, and then we'll begin.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 19 of Coffee Time with Byron and Dave. I am your host, Byron. Unfortunately, not alongside me tonight. Going through some issues. I hope he's doing well. I know he'll be fine. He'll come back soon. Is my co-host, Dave. Get back soon. We miss you here. Get done with whatever you're going through, and we appreciate it. But I'm glad to introduce now my guest for tonight, former major leaguer, Derrick May. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Byron. Sorry about Dave. Hope he does get through whatever he's going through.
I am too. It just sucks. 'Cause I thought I just found this out today that he was going through some trouble. So I'm hoping he'll get over it soon. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. But I'm wishing him well. And are you and your family staying safe in this pandemic?
Yes, we are. I got three older boys, three boys at 27, 26, and a 21-year-old, and also a grandson. So, but we all got vaccinated, and so it's good for that. Fortunately, nobody's gotten COVID or anything like that. Not in our immediate family, but one of my best friends did, and he didn't make it. So it's one of those things that I know it's real. So it's a bad disease or a bad illness, and you don't want to get it.
No, it shut down everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, let's get right to it. You played. Looks like played 9 years in the majors plus 2. It looks like overseas in China.
Okay, so yeah, I played 18 years total professionally, and then plus 10 years in the major leagues with 6 different teams. I played 3 years in Japan, and I really loved that experience. But and then after that, I began coaching almost immediately, maybe a year after that. And I started with the Cardinals. Was there for 12 years, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. And I also was with the Colorado Rockies.
So what's the difference between the Japanese league or Chinese league to here in America? Is it the same concept, different? How do they do it over there compared to over here?
Same. It's pretty much the same. I think there's certain things that are different, certain nuances. Obviously they have ties, right? So you can only play a certain amount of innings. I think it's 11 innings in the Central, and I want to say 13 in the forgot what the division is called, but the two divisions, one plays 11, one plays 13, and they're like the American League and National League. So one has the DH, the other one has the pitcher hits. And so that's pretty much, kind of that. That's one of the differences. The other thing is that they usually have 6-7 man rotations. They don't have the standard 5. They always have a lot of guys kind of just pitching you don't see the same guy unless it's maybe a number 1 guy over and over and over again. So you always see somebody different. A young kid they bring up that they don't want to have against. They don't want the number 1 guy to take a loss, so they bring up a young guy so he so he has to pitch. So it doesn't make sense, but
yeah,
they do it. But fundamentally, they're really, really good. Meaning they catch the ball, they hit the cutoff man, they bunt, they do all those little things that helps to win games. And I think that's kind of the way they play. They just don't make mistakes.
So I see now, take us through your college experience. I see you signed as football and baseball at Virginia Tech. Now, did you want to play both like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders? Did you want to play both, or did you want to just choose one, which was baseball, or go for football?
Well, when I signed with them, it was to play both. I was playing football and baseball. I jumped from football into their college baseball season. So all that stuff, Bo Jackson's, and that was kind of the time when they were coming up. So we all did, kind of everybody did that. We signed to play both. Frank Thomas, so it was another one. And so that's kind of what we all did. Because we were good at both. And so it was one of those things that I was really good at football and I was really good at baseball, but I loved baseball and I had to play it. So I went to I decided to sign with a college that would let me play both. So, and not everyone did. Like the Notre Dame wouldn't let me until after my freshman year, and then Penn State wouldn't let me until after my freshman year. And same thing with North Carolina. I never even got to meet the college baseball coach at the time. Mm-hmm. So that kind of did it for me for that school. But I went with Virginia Tech, and unfortunately, I never got to go there because I was drafted. Ninth pick, and I figured I don't think I could go any higher, in that situation unless I just, was the number 1 pick if I went to college, 3 years down the line. So I just said I'd like to sign with the Cubs and started my professional career.
Now, do you think if you would have stayed and if you were drafted by the Cubs, do you think you would have played football?
Yeah, I would. If I wasn't, I kind of told the schools that if I wasn't drafted in the top 3 rounds, I would have played football. Would have went and played football, wherever I went. So it was contingent on where I was going to be signed at or drafted at. So when I was drafted first, that kind of sealed the deal. But Virginia Tech still wanted me. They still wanted to sign me, and they did. And obviously, and even after it was funny. Even after I signed, so Coach Bill Dooley was there when I was recruited, and so 2 years later he went to Wake Forest, mm-hmm. And so then it was funny. I was playing in Winston-Salem in minor league season, and here he was in Wake Forest, right down the street. He said, "Derrick, you can come play right now. You can come play for me right now." I'm Wake Forest, so I was like, "Nah, I think I'm all right. No, I think I'm fine."
Well, I think you chose the right profession. I mean, you had a long career, so you chose the right profession to get into. So take us through the night of the draft. where were you and what were you doing when you found out that you were taken in the first round, 9th overall, by the Cubs?
Back then we didn't have computers, right? We just had the regular phone, dial-up phone, and I was probably. I don't know exactly what I was doing. I know I was at home when the day of the draft because it was the first day. So I was just sitting home, and it was really, really quick. It wasn't like I was waiting around a long time. So I was just home, and I get a phone call. And it's actually Jim Fry. Jim Fry at Dallas Green. One of those guys, they called me. And they said, "Hey, you're my first pick." I was like, "Okay, great." But the whole time I was like reading. I was like, I'd get phone calls from scouts. My scout was Billy Butcher and Brandy Davis, and Brandy Davis actually lived right in the same town. So Brandy Davis was the cross checker for the Cubs, and so he would call me and say, "You're going to be at 25, or you're going to be at 14, So he would kind of tell me slotted wise where I'd probably go. And then they heard, because I thought I was actually going to go with the Mets or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned out that I went with the Cubs at 9. A surprise. So I was happy about it. My mom was there, my dad was there, my brother was there. Local newspaper was there for some reason. Who knows? But they knew, so, but yeah,
now,
that's where I was at.
I'm seeing you had crazy stats when you were in the Carolina League and Southern League. You were 3rd, 11th, 5th, 5th, and 5th in average for all those years in the Carolina League and Southern League. Did you know you were going to get called up following those stats right away, or did you know you were going to stay in the minors for a little bit before getting the call up?
Yeah, I think going in, I knew because of my age, and this was just because of my dad and kind of the people in baseball I knew, and they were like, you used to go to the minor leagues, So I figured it'd be like 3.5, 4 years, because kind of your progression. I was thinking, rookie ball, then A ball, double A, triple A, But yeah, I was fortunate it worked out that way. But I didn't have that confidence in my first full season because I wasn't hitting too well. My first season, I hit well, but then my second full season, my first full season, I didn't. My first half, I didn't hit at all.
Right.
I'm talking about not at all. I was in the 109 I was hitting going into June. And this is, I didn't have homers, and I think I had nine RBIs or something like that. And, then all of a sudden, things started to change. And I'm lucky I finished close to 300, but everything kind of turned around. I was thinking about going back to play football, but no, it worked out. And I started to, work on my swing, and had a good coach, and had a lot of people behind me. So that's always important.
Do you have a good story of when you first got the call up that you knew you were going to make it to the majors?
When I was going to get called up, I didn't. It was the first time. So I got called up like 3 different times. Mm-hmm. Right. So it was like in 90. In 90, you got to remember, like with 90, we were locked out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people remember that, but we were locked out.
Yeah, that was the year before I was born. Yeah, I wouldn't remember that.
You probably wouldn't remember, but
yeah.
The owners actually locked us out from spring training. So they basically took us, just basically said, hey, but anyway, they took us off me off the roster, all this stuff. Didn't make sense. But anyway, so in 90, playing my first AAA season. We're kind of going through it, and then the last game of the season, I hit a grand slam in Omaha off of Mel Rojas.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to commute, so we're driving back. And I think it was Skip, Messi, and we basically came back, walked back. Congratulations, you're going to the big leagues. But it was like it was only 17 days left. Like we went all the way to almost to the middle of September, so it was only 17 days left. But I got to open up in Philadelphia. Came home because I lived right down the street, about 25, 30 minutes from Veteran Stadium when it was here.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to play here, open my major league debut here in Philadelphia. Struck out twice, my first 2 times out. swinging at 58 footers, you know. So, but then after that, I settled down. I didn't, but I just remember that it was pretty nice, to open my career up here, in Philadelphia.
So how does it, I'm seeing this as well, how does it feel, even though I know you didn't play alongside your dad in the majors, but how does it feel to be one of the tandems in baseball where you're following the footsteps of your father in the majors with the Griffeys, let's see, what else, the Boones, all that. What's it like playing, well, I know it wasn't alongside your father, but...
Yeah, no, it's nice. I mean, it was really nice to kind of, following your dad's footsteps. I mean, some people say they expected it, but, there's really not a lot. I mean, there's a few of them, but there's really not a lot of guys who have done it, you know what I mean? So
that's what I'm saying, it's an exclusive club, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things where, I'm glad I'm fortunate, I was lucky. There's a lot of things I could say. Obviously I had the size. My brother didn't have, my size, but I thought he was pretty good, but he never got an opportunity.
Yeah,
so.
I'm seeing too, is he still a scout for the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yeah, he's been a scout almost over 25 years, not for just Blue Jays. Started with the Braves.
That's crazy.
He went to Arizona. He got a ring with Arizona. Then he went to Seattle, and then he's with Toronto.
No kidding. He scouted all those World Series players to come to that team.
Yeah, he was part of that. So when he got but he worked hard, done a lot for himself. So it's good.
That's amazing. That's hard to believe, because I know that team, growing up watching it, they beat the Yankees
in the World Series, yeah.
In the World Series in 2001.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
in the first.
Wow. That was the powerhouse team to deal with in those days. And you guys had your brother's team had no slouch. You had Luis Gonzalez, Kurt Schilling.
Yep. Big unit.
Yeah, big unit. I think...
Pretty much.
Who else? I forget, but Brian... Tony Womack. Yeah. It was a who's who. Wow. Yeah. That's something. And you beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
Wow. So now let's go on to your coaching career. Like you said, you started off with the Redbirds.
Yeah.
Are you hoping to just coach minor, or are you hoping to escalate your coaching game eventually to the majors if offered?
I mean, I coached in the majors in 2016 with Cardinals as assistant hitting coach. I never thought out to become a major league coach.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to coach, and wherever the chips fell, where they may, basically, because I believe that your players are part of the number one are the number one things and most important, people to try to help and get them to the big leagues. Those are the guys who are, that's what you're there for, and hopefully people see your hard work and maybe they elevate you. But being in the Cardinals organization, for so long, I felt like the position I was in before I got to the big leagues in 2016, that it was probably the best position to be in baseball, because I was able to influence a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of coaches, at that time. So, from there, I've had a lot of players that were in the big leagues, so still in the big leagues, from a lot of those teams that I've coached and been coordinator for, and then a few of my coaches are actually big league coaches now. So it's one of those things that you're saying, you're going, hey, that was probably to be the most influential. That's probably where I think I made the most impact. Now, if I go to another team, I don't care whether I'm a major league coach or not. That's not the important thing for me. What's important to me is making sure these guys get better and become big league players, impactful big league players, not just get there and that's it. I mean, impactful, productive major league players. So.
Now, what about announcing? Would you ever consider taking an announcing job if it was offered to you?
Yeah, I know my wheelhouse. That's probably not. That's
not your forte.
That's not in my wheelhouse. I just know what I'm good at, so I'll probably stick to something like that.
There you go. So it's a who's who of who you coach, because you said you were the hitting coach. Do you have any guys that are still playing to this day, or have retired, that might be Hall of Famers, that you coached?
Oh, well, that's gonna be, let's see, I don't know. I just think that there's players now that are playing, guys like the Stephen Piscotty's or the, like the John Jays, they're probably towards the end of their career, and Matt Carpenter's towards the end of their career, and Tommy Phams, and all those guys they're good players, especially in a team environment, because they know how to win. Now, guys gonna be Hall of Famers, that's like 1%. There's not too many of those guys. I wish I did have an opportunity to I don't know, maybe guys turn it around in their careers, going that way, but maybe I'm still going to be able to coach, and maybe I do one day. Who knows? But that would be awesome if that ever happened. But that's it's tough.
Now, going back through your career, if you can share with the audience your favorite story and the most funniest story you've had in your major league career.
Oh no, I don't know. It was one time. Okay. This is probably one of the funniest. Well, for me, it was because we were playing in Wrigley Field, and one of my buddies, Chuck McElroy, and he was pitching. He had this spandex stuff on underneath his uniform, and with spandex, it doesn't, when you sweat, you can't get rid of it, basically. So he had a long inning. I guess it was, I forgot it was against either St. Louis. I think it might have been St. Louis. And he had a long inning. It was hot as I don't know what. It's like, in the Wrigley, it gets really, really hot and humid on certain times. When it's summertime, it gets really hot. So he was pitching and gave up a lot of runs. Like, he came in, he just couldn't breathe because he had that spandex. And so they laid him on the bench, and he's like this, laying on the bench, and his arm is hanging out, like hanging off. And Sammy hits a home run. He comes, runs around the bases, And he comes in, everybody's high five, and he sees Chuck on the bench with his arm out like this. And he runs by, slaps his hand, and he's like, Chuck is like dehydrated. He's like going into basically sunstroke, and he kind of was like, basically it was just like no, like he didn't miss a beat. High five. Saw Chuck and high five. It kept on going, but it was one of the funniest things after we started talking about it. But he got taken to the hospital, and he had to get all the fluid put back in him, and his head swelled up like the size of a pumpkin. So that made it even funny. That made it even funnier. So
what about one for in the locker room or off the field?
Yeah,
off the field in general.
Off the field, I don't remember. I think it was like in spring training. My roommate was Jerome Walton and Heath Slocum. Those were my two roommates. So Heath was having just a great spring, right? So when the team, I got sent down already. Jerome wasn't making a trip, and Heath was going to like Palm. No, Jerome had a great, and then Jerome was going to Palm Springs, and Heath was home. So Heath let Jerome wear his like brand new like ballet shoes, right? These are like, back in the day, it was like pretty expensive, nice shoes, right? So he let him wear them, right? So he brings them back. So they go play 2 days in Palm Springs and Yuma. That's where we played, And then he comes back and gives Heath his shoes back, and they're like all dusty and turned up. He's like, "What have you been doing? Stealing bases and this stuff?" And I thought it was so funny because I could see Jerome wearing those things to steal bases because they look like it. They look like they used to steal bases. But that was one of the funniest stories I had.
Awesome. That's awesome. So now, as a outfielder and hitter, what pitcher gave you the fits the most, and what pitcher did you hit well the most off of?
Oh, well, I say all of them all the time. I mean, I think, all the pitchers were tough to hit. All the pitchers gave me a lot of fits, but they're all tough. But the one I knew that I hit well was like Kurt Schilling was one I hit well, and he happened to be like one of my closer friends in baseball at the time, and so I knew I hit him well. I forgot who else. But another guy that I just didn't like facing was Terry Adams for some reason. I always told him that. I was like, I hate facing you, but I didn't. I mean, even though it looked like he threw that straight fastball, but it was something on it that I just couldn't pick up. But he was tough. Maddox was always tough. I mean, those guys are Smoltz and Glavine and all those guys, Avery. But yeah, all those guys are tough.
So then what?
Hated facing Atlanta.
So then, what pitch did you enjoy hitting the most from pitchers? Was it the fastball, curve, slider, change?
Yeah.
Which one did you enjoy hitting the most? Like, what did you get the most contact?
Fastballs. I like hitting fastballs, but I like hitting hanging curveballs. Hanging curveball.
You gotta love those. Lefty.
The one thing is like you can make a whole lot of money at hanging curveball because pitchers will throw them. They throw them in that little get me over curveball, and you can hit them.
Especially down and in, because I see you're a fellow lefty. We love those pitches down and in.
Yeah, they started getting a little smarter though. Yeah, down and in fastball's good, but then they started throwing those down and in sliders, back foot sliders that you can't hit. So you just try to lay off them. So
I always had trouble with those in Little League.
Yeah, you didn't have to. So.
Yeah, It's funny that you said. It's funny that you say that like because I know a lot of pitchers today. There's a lot more pitches than what you played with what you played for back in the day. There's like what a knuckle. There's like knuckle. You didn't see much of that back in the day.
Oh yeah, you did. I faced Charlie Huff, Tom
Really?
Cagliotti.
There was that much. There was knuckles in the.
Tom Cagliotti, Tim Wakefield.
Well, I remember Wakefield. He was like the only one that I remember.
Charlie Huff, Cagliotti, Wakefield. Who else was there? I mean, there's a few of them. Now there doesn't seem to be any.
No, not since Dickey retired.
Yeah, there's not any. I mean, I remember you had to change. There was even a left-handed knuckleballer. He pitched for the Marlins. It was but he was a left-handed knuckleballer. How many of those do you see?
Not any that I can recall.
Cutters. There's nothing. Now Cutters, yeah. Bob Nen had a cutter.
Yeah.
Mariano Rivera.
Lefties have that natural cutter.
Bob Nen, he threw that cutter he was like 95 and just jump at you, and then Mariano was the same way, you know.
Yeah.
Now forkball, like split fingers. There's a lot of guys with split fingers I had to face, you know. But there's a lot of guys that had those pitches, you know. I had to face. Who was it? The staff? Like Kevin Gross. I mean, who else? Kevin Brown. I mean,
my Padres.
Yeah, they had all those. I mean, but all those guys had those pitches that were. I mean, but they had the sink. They had the sinkers. They had the two-seamers. They had the split. They had the split fingers, forkballs, change-ups. Trevor Hoffman.
That was when.
Hoffman.
Yes. That was when the Padres were good.
Trevor Hoffman, 3 different speeds on the change-ups. He go from 69, 67 to 65. All in the same at bat. So he had the 90, and then he had a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
He was sick when he threw those. yes. And I followed him.
So I mean, say the pitches today, they have them, you know, but they have the same pitches. They just, you know, I just think that it's, you know, they're just throwing more of them. I think. I don't know. Our guys. I mean, back then it was like. I mean, they come at you. I mean, obviously some of them didn't, but I mean that from that standpoint, guys are throwing harder today. I would say, you know, maybe it's the technology, maybe it's not, but I think they do. And then, the one guy that I didn't like facing was Apier.
Oh yeah, he was good.
Apier.
Yep.
Would do. Oh, that's another. It brings up another story. So so Kevin Apier, when he threw, and so he would throw over the top, but his hand would kind of pronate, and it would come down, but it go away from you, like it was almost like you were facing a lefty coming across. That's what for me, a lefty. His right-handed fastball would come across like a lefty. Mm-hmm. So he was tough. He was a tough guy to hit, you know, because you had to think about that. So my story was this. This is a story that I had. So it was the closer for the Kansas City Royals at the time was Jeff Montgomery.
Yes. Jeff Montgomery. Yes.
So this is 1999. So he's going for like I want to believe it's like his 300th career save or 200. Yeah, 300.
I think it was 300. Yeah.
Yeah. So crowd is standing up. We got 2 outs. They got 2 outs in the top of the ninth. This is where I'm with Baltimore. And they know they can feel like he's getting it's like 2-1 game. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to get a save. So I'm sitting there because this is it's American League. It's not like you pinch hit. You know, it's so Ray Miller, he's the manager at the time. You know, Richie Emerald gets on with a walk. Okay, so I'm like. So he's like, Ray Miller says, "Hey, D-May, go hit. 2 outs. Richie Hammer on first. You got the crowd standing up, going for his 300 save off Jeff Montgomery. This Splitty, right?
The Splitty.
So then, so I said, I was like, okay, so I had to go in there. So when that ended up happening, so the first pitch, doesn't Splitty, I just swing him a whiff on it because I hadn't seen him, right? So then the next time, second pitch, whiff, gets away from the catcher, Richie Hammer goes to second. Right, so then my third, I had 0-2. Right, he throws another Splitty. I throw the bat at it, and a line drive right up the middle. Richie Hammer comes around and scores. Blown save.
There you go. See, there you go. That's a tremendous story right there.
Yeah.
Because if I recall, not many people had success against Montgomery.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
So, I mean, for that to happen, come on, shows not only you mastered him that day, shall I say?
Mastered. I got one more. So Mariano Rivera, I'm facing him, right? So I've never faced him before at this time. I always seen him, I know it, but it was like, Derrick, go pinch hit. So I would go up and pinch hit for Baltimore. So he throws me a first pitch fastball. I'm right on it. Swing it. I swing as hard as I can, go straight back. I'm like, I'm on it. I've never seen his cutter. Like, I've never seen it. So the next time I see it, it looks like the same thing. And I swing as hard as I can, and I don't know where it hit. It hit either on my handle or it hit off the end, one of them. But I'm just sitting there. I'm thinking I fouled it straight back. So Joe Girardi's, who I know, played with, and so he sits there and goes, "Run, D," like that. So, because I thought I fouled it off. So I look around and I see it, and Scott Brocious is on third, right? So he's like, he's the third baseman. So starts charging in to get it, and the ball's like spinning like this kind of spin. And he comes charging, trying to get it, and it kind of just jumps over the bag and skips over the bag. And by the time I see it, and then I start taking off, and I get a base hit off Mario because I went over the box.
See, it's stuff like that you will never forget, especially off a legend.
That's right. I can say I batted 1,000 off him. So.
Hey, there you go. You're the one of very few that can ever say that.
That's right.
Now, I know baseball has always been talking, like, say you hitters get a hit and you guys are always being talked to by the first baseman. Yeah. When you played, can you share a conversation with us how that went with one of the first basemen you played against when you were on base?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, say Jeff Bagwell. So when I used to play with the Cubs, and the wind was blowing in all the time, especially it was like opening. It might have been opening day, maybe the first or second series, but it was freezing, and the wind was just gusting in, and he comes to the plate and he hits the ball. I mean, as hard as I think you can hit it, like they hit it straight up. Mm-hmm. With any other day, he probably would have been gone. So I'm running back, and then I get to the warning track, and I just catch it. And then all of a sudden he's like, so when I come up, I get a base hit, and he's like, "That's all I got, D. That's all I got. I can't even get it out of here." I was like, no, not today. You get it the wrong day. That kind of stuff. Like, I mean, that's the kind of thing you get, or like John Kruk's like, "Wait, pitching to you," stuff like that. Like, it's just
John Kruk was the craziest.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh yeah, he is.
Fred McGriff is a good guy.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that too, because I saw you played for the Orioles in '99, as you said. What was it like? I know the Devil Rays were just coming into existence, but they had some good talent on that team.
Yeah.
When you went up against them in '99, you just could never figure out the pitching. You had You had Fred McGriff, Wade Boggs, Jose Canseco.
They had a lot of guys good too.
Abernathy was a good one.
Yeah. Greg Vaughn was
Greg Vaughn. What was it like going against them? But you knew for a fact they weren't going to do anything because of their pitching staff.
I don't think we even worried about that. I just think that you just try to win the game. I mean, even that team with Baltimore, if you look at their pitching staff, they had Messina, they had Erickson. Who else did they have?
Messina was the one that really turned out to be a star.
Yeah, and he was quiet. I mean, he just did his thing, you know. Messina was always a good, tough out. I mean, he's a tough pitcher too. I mean, the thing that he was good at was like, you know, obviously spotting, but his curveball and like adding and subtracting to that curveball. Like he'd throw it harder, then he'd throw it soft, and then, you know. So he was pretty good. He was a pretty good pitcher, Hall of Famers.
Since you've been pretty much all around, what fan base would you say you enjoyed playing for and going up against?
Fan base I enjoyed playing for was probably Cubs. I mean, Cubs kind of traveled everywhere. Enjoyed going up against was probably St. Louis or the Mets or New York Mets.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And what about stadiums? I know it was hard playing on the turf, so I'm guessing those playing in those stadiums you did not like, or did you not care at the moment?
No, I mean it was all right. I mean the last few years, like I was playing for Houston and I was playing for. Hold on a sec, Mike. Go ahead. That was my son.
You're good.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, so it's, you know, the last one I played with like Houston, I played with Montreal, I played with Philadelphia. Those were all turf. And it does weigh you down a little bit. Then I went to finally get to go to Baltimore, and that was really nice because everything was short, like the grass was cut low and stuff like that. I love playing in Baltimore too. That was a great place to play. So especially to hit. Real good.
Now, I saw you also play for the Expos. Did you play with Vlad Guerrero's dad?
Yes. I played with Vlad Guerrero. Yes.
Was he
Big Vlad?
Yes. Was he just as good as they say he was? That he could hit anything.
Oh yeah. No, that's exactly like he was such a guy. He was such a good hitter. Well, he could hit anything that they did. That's what Felipe Alou worried about, was him getting hit. Like because they knew that he could hit just about it. I mean, even like these bad pitches that were up over his head, he could still hit it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he worried about that a lot. And the one time he did. I saw him get mad. And it was Stan Belinda. I don't know if you remember him, but Stan Belinda came up and in off of me.
I do. I remember him.
Yeah, and came up and in off of me, and he took a step back and looked. He didn't have any bat. He didn't wear a batting glove, so he just kind of was grinding the handle and gets back in the box. And Stan Belinda throws one about this high off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, hits a line drive over the shortstop's head, and it just keeps going to the wall. And he just keeps running all the way to third base. He got a triple off. Everybody's going like, what in the world? Like, he had speed. Like, his speed at the end of his career just kind of went away because he played all the years.
Now, did he ever bring his kid? Is that where you first met Vlad Guerrero Jr.?
He didn't. I don't think he was born yet.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't born in '98. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it was. So he was. But he was another guy. He just didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He'd come to the park and just smile and had his little headphones on, And then he has his other brother, Wilton. I played with Wilton too.
Oh, I totally forgot about him. Oh, you don't ever hear about him because Vlad was the only one who made it big. But I do remember him. He played for a numerous amount of teams.
Yeah, including the Expos. He played for Expos and the Reds. And he was everything. Like he was basically probably one of the best I've seen. I mean, even throwing wise, like he would be. I remember one guy was at the wall. Guy was trying to score, and he took it from the wall, and he didn't throw like over the top like normal people do it from the side, and that ball just went. You're gonna catch a ball right here and just tagged it out. I mean, he just had a hose, and nobody. The thing that he possessed, like his skill, the arm, speed, the power, the ability to hit, everything. He's pretty amazing.
So now I'm going to give you a couple players you played for. Okay?
Okay.
Now I want you to tell me and my audience what were they like in the locker room. And yep. If you can.
Okay.
And how were they as a player? I'm going to start off first because these are the only ones I can remember. Starting off with the Orioles. We already went through Messina.
Right.
What about, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he was at the tail end of his career, but did you play with Ripken?
Yes. Yep.
How was he as a leader in the clubhouse?
He was the leader. I mean, he was the leader. So, I mean, yeah, he was a good leader. I mean, but the thing is with him at the end is he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He had the back and all that stuff. So, I mean, he was there, but I mean, I would try to do basically, I remember when he would go out and hit early, like I'd say, hey, you might as well, if I go with you, see what he was doing because he was, and he did. He'd go out and work and hit, and him and Terry Crawley, and I'd try to jump in there too. So, but he was really good.
And let's see, Houston Astros. I'm trying to remember.
Yep, Bagwell.
Yep, Bagwell. We already went through. What about Biggio? Yes. What was he like?
Awesome. He was awesome. Awesome guy. I mean, played hard. Just intense. Especially when he played off the field, it was nice, very nice. One story I always tell is that he on Sundays he would come in really early, get up fully dressed in full uni, and then he'd go back home in full uni.
That's great.
But his kids were home. So
I'm actually glad I brought those names up because since you played with them and against them,
yeah.
Now I gotta bring you to the modern day era. Do you think those kids that are in the majors to this day from the Hall of Fame daddies, are they gonna be, do you think honestly, I know it's early, but do you honestly think they will be better than their daddies? The Vlad Guerrero Jr., Biggio, Bichette, all of them. Do you think they'll be better? Conine.
Gonna be tough. I mean, like the Hall of Fame. I mean, like Vladdy Jr. probably has a chance. Hold on, what is? Yeah, can you see it? Yeah, Vladdy Jr. has a chance. Just because he started so young, and I mean, all of them pretty much did. We'll see how, like. I know Calvin kind of plays all over, just like his dad did kind of early. Like he was a catcher when he went to second and he's outfield. But like he kind of plays all over, so maybe his at bats is limited as much. Like he, but I mean he still came out pretty young. Now, Bo, he's got a chance. Second baseman, shortstop that got some power, got some ability, so he could. Yeah, he could. Definitely. Who else was it?
Co9's.
I haven't seen Code9's son play. Haven't seen him up yet. I haven't, seen whatever. But anytime you're around like baseball as much as they were, they got an opportunity. They're going to have a chance, obviously. But it's just kind of sometimes it's the luck of the draw too. It's how like injuries, a lot of different things kind of come into play that you hope they stay away from and hopefully have productive, long careers. That's all you can ask for.
Do you like as a former player yourself, do you like the way the game is going to this day with where everything's basically home run, strikeouts, walks, analytics? Because when you played, it was basically instincts alone, dragged a runner over, bunt the runner over, scored a run, base hit, you name it. Nowadays, it's not like that. Do you like where the game's going?
There's certain things I don't. Obviously, there's, I don't like the fact, like, if you do get a guy on second base or a guy on third base and you strike out three guys strike out in a row, that's not very good.
No, it's not.
So it's like one of those things, and if my pitcher, I got like a DeGrom on the mound, and he's going pretty good, and you can't get that guy over to maybe have a chance to get the guy in so he can stay in the game and win a game. Then that's another one. I just think that with the way the swings are, a lot of the guys that I don't see them having longevity with some of the way some of the guys swing. So basically, they're giving away a lot more than they're getting. You know what I mean? So it's like if you are a guy who has that lift, that uppercut swing, whatever it is, you might hit home runs, you might hit a few home runs, but after that bat speed goes away, what do you have?
Right.
You haven't learned how to hit. You just going for the down. So it's like one of those things that I think you're giving away a lot more than you're actually getting as a hitter when you have that type of swing. And I get it with analytics. Yeah, if I hit a double, I'd rather hit a ball in the gap than hit a single up the middle. But when there's a guy on third and I hit that single up the middle, the guy comes in, I'm happy about that, Instead of thinking, maybe I got to hit this ball, over the fence, I got to hit this ball in the gap. I got to get it done. I got to get this run in, or, it's just one of those things, I think. But analytics is kind of something that it is good as far as evaluating players and certain things, but when a player's thinking about that, I think that's not going to help you. You know what I mean? It's not going to help you in the long run.
Now I gotta ask you. We talked about it a little bit earlier when you said you got locked out in '90 with the owners. With the new CBA coming up soon, and what happened last year with the players and the owners fighting it out. Do you see a situation happening like what there was in '90, or do you
94?
see them? Or do you see them coming to an agreement?
Well, no, I don't think either side wants to stop what they're doing right now because they're making a whole lot of money, and I think that I think they would come to an agreement. But nobody wants to be like in '94 where you stop playing or you get locked out or whatever. Nobody wants that, and I think that I guarantee they'll have something. They'll come up with something, but I don't think either side wants to see that happen again. So they're making a lot of money, both sides. So
yeah, we got a couple minutes left. I gotta ask you. Is there any, since you were an outfielder, is there any advice that you want to give to the audience for any young player out there, what they can do to master their game in the outfield?
Oh, well, to master the game in the outfield, you have to be ready on every pitch, right? So it's always important. But yeah, I mean, it's like a cliche, but it is. You got to be ready every single pitch. Yeah, I mean, and always another thing is try to see things ahead of time, meaning like try to see plays ahead of time, or imagine a ball being hit to you ahead of time. Imagine a ball being hit to you ahead of time, so that it's not. So if it's hit to you, that it doesn't speed you up. You already know what you're gonna do with it. You already know where to throw the ball. You already know whether to, what you're gonna do with it in your mind. So when you do that, you're more prepared, and you're not as surprised. So a little forethought beforehand will always make you a better player.
And what about hitting? Because you were also a hitting coach. What can you tell them about hitting?
Compete. I don't care what kind of swing you have, whatever it is, but the bottom line is you should compete. You should always be better than that pitcher. But it's all about competition. I can say about, making sure that contact first, if you're a young player, and then, your power is always the last to come. But you want to make contact, but you want to compete. Competition. I never wanted to strike out. Never. I know it's part of the game, but I don't want to strike out because I don't want that guy to beat me.
Right.
So that's the most important thing when you play baseball. You gotta compete. You got to compete. Don't let that other team, win. That's what it's about.
I agree with you on that. And my last question to you before we let you go is, do you still talk to anybody that you formerly played with to this day that you're good friends with?
Yeah, I talked to Mike Harkey. He was a pitcher. He's the bullpen coach for the Yankees. Still talk to him. Brian Gwynn, he's not coaching. He's coaching in college, but I talked to him. He's in San Francisco. But yeah, I got a few guys I still talk to.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you don't hear too many.
Oh, Milt Thompson. There's another one, Milt Thompson.
There you go. He's
there's a few guys.
And I asked this question to everybody.
Bo Porter.
You're good. I asked this question to everybody that I had baseball related on. I know it's early, but real quick, who do you see going to the World Series and winning it this year?
Oh my gosh.
See? Gotta get you there.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's gonna be the Dodgers. It's gonna be they're gonna be one. I still think they got a really good team, and then and also I'm gonna go with this. Let's see. Let's see here.
Tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I could.
The AL is so open.
It is, and I'm thinking about it. I mean, it might be Houston again. Sorry. Houston and their pitching is not sure about. That's a good question. I don't really know what that. Don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I'm going to go with my brother's team, Toronto. They might pull something.
That's a wild card. You don't hear of them, but hey, that's a good pick. You really don't hear from them, but hey, who knows? Anything can happen. They have three Hall of Fame kids right now on their team, so who knows?
It
could happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I want you to come back on anytime you want, especially now I got you on Twitter, everything, Facebook.
Okay.
So yeah, just hit me up whenever you want to come on. I'd love that. I'd love to have you on, and I know so will Dave. He'll love talking to you as well. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks, Brian. Thanks
No
for having me.
problem.
And I hope Dave gets over whatever he.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. But again, congratulations and enjoy your manager's gig. So I hope we'll be able to speak soon with that coming up.
All right, we will. All right, thanks.
All right, you have a good night. Take care.
You too. You
All
too.
right,
Bye.
bye.